Why does it matter? Or rather, why should it matter? So, if it's not obvious, I have no idea. And should we know? Or rather, is there even a reason why it should? So, let's just consider that what is matter, not in terms of solid, liquid, or gases, but in terms of relevance. So let's take the example of some credible characters from the past. There is Jesus Christ, there is Isaac Newton, there is Nikola Tesla. So in these three examples, they did extraordinary things, or rather, what they did is considered extraordinary. So on Jesus Christ, so he is quite the character because his existence was prophesied. Basically, his birth was expected. They didn't know where, they didn't know when, but it was going to happen, and it did happen. And then after it happened, how he lived his life and what he did while he was alive, extraordinary. Then we go to Isaac Newton. An apple fell, and we now understand gravity and how it works and everything. He also invented a topic in mathematics, calculus. Yeah. And then there's Nikola Tesla. He was a great inventor. He's the reason why in our current world we use AC and not DC. Or rather, we transmit AC instead of DC. So the basic thing is, of these three characters, they matter. Because if it's not for their contribution to humanity, then it could have been that much harder. So again, why does it matter? Well, simply because it's worth it, or rather, it brings such a big benefit that without it, it would have been difficult to survive. And considering our current state, having it harder will be quite not so good. That's how I'd put it. So why does it matter? Because it matters. And why it matters is because we need it, and that's why it matters. So what's the point? Let me refer to a concept that I derived, made up. It's basically when an object, so we're going to the idea of matter as solid, liquids, and gases. So when an object has a lot of matter, it has a lot of mass. So the more it matters, the more of an impact it has. And in this case, we'll focus on Jesus Christ because, at least in my opinion, no one else matters as much. So we'll use the reference of the black hole. So a black hole has a lot of mass, and this is dictated by how much matter it has been able to take in. So the more matter it takes in, the heavier it becomes. And this weight is in space, but it also affects time. Because if we look at physics, space and time are interconnected, and then there is space time. So, how it affects is, if you assume that space time is a sheet, so we can use like a piece of bedding, like bed sheets. So, in all four corners, it's been held not too tightly, but in such a way that it can fall into itself. So we introduce a marble. When we introduce a marble, then where the marble settles, so first of all, most likely it will be in the middle of this particular bed sheet. And where it has settled, it will cause a bulge. The bed sheet will rather sort of droop. And that's what a black hole causes. And how I relate this to Jesus Christ is that I had initially stated that our entire lives is made up of these particular sheets, where each single sheet is a point in time, rather a moment. So that moment, so a screenshot of that moment, and then there's a screenshot of the next moment and a screenshot of this next moment. The space between these two screenshots is quite negligible, or rather almost non-existent. It's infinitely small. Let me just put it at that. So that's how we find a fluid flow of time. But my point is, this particular black hole will cause this particular droop, and this particular droop will fall along the points of time. So it will not cut through, or at least in this particular example, we assume that it does not penetrate through, but it causes all the other subsequent sheets to also bulge. And in that way, we find that Jesus Christ existed in these particular timelines, not directly interfering with it, but indirectly affecting it. And actually, the main reason, or rather a better reason why I used Jesus Christ, is before he was born, his birth was already mentioned that he was going to be born. And even after he has died up to today, we still speak of his name. And that's the effect that I'm talking about. If you matter enough, then you'll transcend time and space. Yes, let's say that. If you matter enough, you'll transcend space and time. So that's why you matter. Because, wait, really? Either way, you should matter and accept that you do.